Hi guys, Rob Linger. 25 minutes for your opening dialogue? Holy cow, I love it. That's one of the things that drew me to your podcast. Your banter back and forth. It was a great distraction for me while I waited for the meat of the podcast to come up. Don't change a thing. Keep it going. I love it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Love you guys.
Welcome to Widow Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Ebersole. I'm sitting here with my friend and co-host, Mark Massaro. How's it going, Mark?
It's going pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. That's right. What is the thing you say? You can't say, how are you? Good?
You can't say good.
Well?
You have to say well.
I forgot which one. I'm well.
Yes. Good.
Which is actually a big deal because I had health issues. To be able to say I'm well is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm still wearing my, well, they're not in right now, but they're right here. Like, they look like hearing aids. My hearing aids. I've been showing all my friends of him, look at my hearing aids. They're like, what? But nobody notices them. I've had them a little over a week, and I think it's helping. Like, right now I don't hear the ringing at all. I don't hear it very often anymore. So that's good. So it just plays this like very quiet white noise. So that's good. Anyways, I am well.
And it's just to tune out the other noise that you hear.
You actually do it a little lower than the ringing, and somehow it works. It tricks your brain. Like they say, eventually your brain will choose the white noise instead of the ringing. And so it usually takes a couple months. And then I have them for like, if it flares up in the future, like apparently the ringing will probably always be there. I just won't hear it. So that's
interesting.
Good. Yeah. So that's been like a new thing, wearing those all the time. We also, a couple of cool things in the last week. We went to Seattle. It was Joel's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Totally
happy birthday,
surprised
Joel.
him. Yeah, happy birthday. So he had no idea until the night before, because he had just mentioned he wanted to ride a train to Seattle. So it's like a 3-hour train ride. He's like, that way nobody has to drive. But then he didn't really say anything. So he didn't know I planned it until the night before. I was like, gave him the train tickets. He's like, what? We're going to Seattle. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't get to know where we're going, like in Seattle. So he said no one's ever done anything like this for him, and he loved it. So we just got on the train early in the morning, and it was really fun, just like hanging out and talking, and nobody had to drive, and just watching everything. And then we got there, and I had to be the navigator. Like, I'm like, nope, you don't know where we're going. And so I got my phone out, and it was a 2-mile walk to get to the Space Needle where we went first.
Oh, nice.
And he did guess that one, like, because I was like, where do you think we're going? And then I had envelopes for everything, and I give it to him, and it was like a printed out picture, like, we're going to the Space Needle. And it was just really fun. It wasn't raining. It was great weather. We ended up walking close to 8 miles that day, and
wow.
Yeah, tons of walking, but that was good. And then so the Space Needle is really cool. If you guys don't know, it was built for 1960 something World's Fair. And my parents actually got engaged there. So it's kind of a cool place. I took a video of like what used to be the restaurant and sent it to them, like, hey, here's where you got engaged. And it's like a revolving floor that's all glass. And we did pictures like laying on it. And like, it was super fun.
Is it a restaurant?
And it's not anymore. It used to be.
Okay.
I guess there's a bar at night, but it used to be a full like restaurant. Like I went there for my friend's 13th birthday when I was like 12, and it was very fun. So I do remember going there. Anyways, it was really fun. And then we got out of there, and I gave him the next envelope. I'm like, where do you think we're going? He didn't know anything else in Seattle. He's like, I don't know. So it was the Chihuly Glass and Garden Center. And it's like this big, beautiful, they actually have them in Vegas at Bellagio, I think, like all these sculptures made of glass. And I'm not a big art person, but I actually really enjoy this. It was really pretty. And then we got to watch a demonstration when they blew glass and made things, and it was just like a super fun like adventure day. And then we ate lunch there, and then I was like, here's the next envelope, and it was called the Museum of Pop Culture, and they had like really cool exhibits about all different music and movies, and then you could like play instruments, and it was really fun. Did Joel learn what?
Was he learning about
since he
culture? No.
Yes,
you were just saying that he doesn't get a lot of our references.
Oh yeah, because I was like, there was a whole Nirvana exhibit, which I was like, did you know they're from Seattle? And he was like, no, he didn't really know anything about Nirvana.
I didn't know they're from Seattle either.
Yeah, it's actually like right outside of Seattle, but that's why it was a big deal. Like I was in high school when Kurt Cobain died, and it was I didn't live Seattle, then I lived Portland area, but it was still a really big deal here. Like people were really upset. And so anyways, he did learn some stuff because he didn't really know much about Nirvana. And not that I was like ever a huge Nirvana song, but just like everybody here in high school knew Nirvana, and we all had the flannels and, we were all grunge.
Yeah, everybody knew who Nirvana was.
Yes, exactly. So that was cool there. And then I gave him another envelope, and it was Pike Place Market, which is like this really cool, like farmer's market kind of. They have year round every day, and they like throw the fish, but we were there a little late. We didn't get to see the fish throwing. And then there's a gum wall I'd never seen.
Throwing?
Yeah, like they flip them around,
Like they juggle them?
Yeah. So, yes.
You're saying that like I should know what that is. Fish throwing. Like I'm just like, oh, fish throwing? Yeah, totally.
Like they throw yes. They're like juggling the fish. You've never seen that?
Okay, yeah. No, I've never even heard of that. You know what? Actually, I think I saw that in the movie Aladdin.
Yes, it's like that. Yeah. Okay. But they do it for real. But we were too late. I was so sad. I'm like, they're not doing the fish throwing. And Joel didn't act like fish throwing was a weird thing. Maybe he's seen it before. Anyways.
Yeah. Maybe it's
then
just
there's this gum wall. It's a gum alley, actually, where I'd never seen it, but Haley had been there the year before. She's like, you have to go there. And it's like an entire alley where people put their gum. So we had bought our gum and put it up, and it's really gross. It's so gross.
That is super gross.
Super gross. And I was like, we have to do this. We're in Seattle. So we did the gum wall. And then we went down to the piers, like right on the water. It's so beautiful. And there's this huge, it looks like the Eye of London. I think that's what it's called. Like in London, where they have the big Ferris wheel thing that's enclosed. They have one called the Wheel of Seattle. And we rode that, and it was so beautiful. It's like enclosed it's like had a heater. It was really cold outside. And it was just beautiful, like just taking in the city. And then we rushed back and got on the train and made it home and watched a movie.
Did another 3-hour tour back?
Yes. And side note,
3 hours.
Okay, we found a really good movie on Netflix. It was what's it called?
I don't know.
It's about the song "We Are the World." That was created in the 80s.
Children.
Oh, yes. The best night of pop music or something. It's called something like that. And it's like the real footage from when they all came together and made this with all the greats. It was an awesome movie that we watched on the way home. So I think
the best night of what?
Pop music, or let me look it up on Netflix right now. We watched that on the way home, and it was so good. I was like, this is really good.
Nice.
Anyway, I'm like all over the place. Who cares about what I watched on Netflix on the way home? But I'm gonna find
people
it
want
right
to know.
here.
Inquiring minds would like to know.
Right? Best night. I think that's what it's called. The greatest night in pop, and it has like on the cover, it's Michael Jackson singing. So it's really good. Highly recommend. highly recommend.
Yeah, that was like everybody, like Stevie Wonder.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
Lionel Richie, I think.
Yes, he was in it. He's actually one of the narrators of the story. And
okay.
That was really cool. Just like hearing it all came together. Anyways, really good. Cyndi Lauper, like so many people. Okay, but that's
Cyndi Lauper. Was that Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
Yes.
Was that Cyndi Lauper? Okay.
Yes.
Thought so.
Yeah. It was so good. Anyways,
I got to get this stuff right, or Rob will like attack me via Messenger.
Right, Rob? Yes.
If it's paddle boats or Foreigner Journey, what was the other one?
Oh, I don't know. I can't keep up.
Kansas, that was another band I think he mentioned to me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So anyways, that's
so I got to get this stuff right. Listening.
Yes, for his birthday, and then we got to do a really cool thing. We had to like fly down to like this airport a few hours away to pick up a plane for Joel to fly the next day. It's like a new job for like the kind of plane he used to fly, the smaller planes. So that was really fun. We got to go down there. And it was awesome. One of my best friends lives down there, so we did that, and it was just like a beautiful day. And I'd never flown like around here, like low where you see everything. I'd only done like Louisiana with him, and we were both impressed. Like mountains everywhere. Like at one point, we could see like 6 mountains while we were flying, and it was like a completely clear day, and it was absolutely amazing. And it was like, I love that my husband's a pilot. This is so fun. Like
that is cool.
He's getting paid to do this, and I get to ride along, and it's awesome. And
yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, so that's enough about me.
Do you ever fly?
He let me one time, but I usually.
I was gonna say, right? Like he can just kind of let you,
do
the controls for a little bit, right? What is it
Yeah.
called? We discovered it's not a steering wheel.
It's a yoke.
A yoke. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because he said something about the yoke the other day, and I remembered. Oh yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay.
Not the pilot steering wheel, but the yoke.
Yeah. The yoke,
Anyways,
the joystick.
what's new with you? Enough about
Oh
me.
man, I've had a lot going on. So I had some major data breaches going on. I had like all of my accounts hacked, like bad.
That's
This guy
awful.
is like a super good hacker and would just stay 2 steps ahead of me on everything. I'd change a password and he'd set up these one-time passwords sent to like authenticator apps. So I wasn't even getting it when I would try to change my password. It was so bad that he hacked my Amazon account. I was 15 phone calls into Amazon and they're like, there's nothing we can do. We don't have the one-time password. We can't access your account.
Oh no.
By the way, Amazon has a department for everything. They're oh, we're going to have to forward you to the fraud department. We're going to have to forward you to the complaints department, to the password department, to the scheduling, to the username department. It was like all this stuff. And I'm like, no, they sent me to you. Like, and it was just one of those vicious cycles. So I kept getting these, they got into my email. And so I figured out that there were emails from everything from Amazon was going straight into my deleted folder. So it was like I wasn't getting emails from Amazon. But since I figured that out, I would go into my deleted folder to see all the new emails from Amazon. Yeah. And there was this list, like 25, 30 items long. Oh, we're so sorry. Yes, we will issue you a refund. We'll issue you a refund. We'll issue you a refund. So there's thousands of dollars of gift cards that were applied to my account.
Oh, wow.
And all this stuff, right? And so finally, I was able to get back into my account. I set up a new email, brand new email that is only for Amazon through a secure email address. And then log back. And now he's out. So what's interesting is when I went in there and I went to my shipping addresses, I got the guy's name and address and phone number.
Nice.
So I called him. And I was just sitting there calling him over and over and over. And so he was actually in Washington. Oh. And so I think it was Portland, actually. Oh. And so West Coast, I know. I was like, hey, Joel, can you go knock on this dude's door for me? But so for when I was calling for him, it was like, I think 5 or 6 a.m. And I just kept calling over and over. And so, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to send screenshots to him because also as a real estate agent, I have this really cool app where I can look up somebody's phone number. I can see their criminal record. I can see their previous addresses. I can see all their previous phone numbers, aliases, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
So I was going to send him a screenshot of all the information I had on him, because on the Amazon account, it wasn't his real name.
Right.
But I used that phone number, punched it in. I found his real name. I found an address in California. I found another, all this stuff.
Wow.
And I was I was like, I'm going to screenshot this and just text it to him and just scare the heck out of him, And Tina's like, but what if he's kind of crazy or something, And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because I saw over the past 4 days how good of a hacker he is.
Yeah.
I don't want to make this guy my enemy. I know that he recognizes my number because he used my number for all kinds of stuff. So anyways, I was dealing with a nightmare. They hacked into my Venmo. They hacked it. I had to freeze credit cards. I had to disable credit cards. It's been such a headache.
Did you ever talk to him or did you get the police
involved? No, he never answered. But ever since I kept ringing the phone off the hook, I haven't had anything else happen to me. And it bought me enough time to go through and change all my stuff. Yeah. So which is funny because we did an episode on not getting scammed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's something that I forgot to mention. Do not make the same password for everything. Because they were even into my Netflix account. They locked me out of my Netflix account and set up their own Netflix account and were actually watching shows and movies on my Netflix. But that's Netflix horrible. Was cool. They got me right back in. But anyways, so do not use the same username and password for everything. I know that's a no-brainer for a lot of you, but I know some of you are like me and it's just so hard to remember passwords for everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't do that because once they got into one thing, they were into everything of mine. They were in my Venmo, my banks, my everything. So it's been nuts. So anyways, I had that going on. So I had to get all the negativity out of the way first because
Tell us the
I
good.
was about to like, I was getting so mad. I was like, this guy, oh my gosh, like he's in everything. You know, I felt so violated. And I was like dealing with it at work. You know, it was like every time I turned around, okay, this is how good of a hacker he was. And I'll just say this and I'll move on. When he was trying to like hack my new password into something, like I was getting these text messages telling me what my one-time password was, and I wasn't requesting them. I got it. It would take me, whenever I changed my password, it'd probably take me 30 to 45 seconds to get one of those sent to me, because you got to put in your email, you got to confirm, do this, do that, then they send it. Confirm there's your phone number. This guy blew my phone up with 100 text messages in 1 minute.
Oh, whoa.
It's all bring, 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 bring. Like it just kept going. So anyways, this guy was, he knew what he was doing. Awful. I don't even understand how that stuff works. So, but now I seem to, for the time being, have everything back in my control, which is good. Amazon reversed all the stuff, except for I still have a like almost $700 gift card balance in my Amazon account. I'm all, this isn't mine. Like, they're like, okay, well, they'll correct the error. I'm like, can you just correct it right now?
Yeah.
Like, you know? So anyways, so that's all the negativity that's been going on almost. I just remember one more thing. My daughter has strep throat.
Oh, no.
Took her to the doctor today. They had to miss school, and I took my son just to have him checked out too.
Yeah.
And that's just, thankfully, Tina hadn't left yet, so she came with me.
Oh, good.
Because that's you know how it is.
Yes.
Like everything at the hospital. I'm just waiting for bad news. Yeah. And everything with Lacey started with, it hurts when I swallow.
Oh, really?
And like I can feel something in my throat, and that's exactly what like Alexis was saying. And so of course, even though I like knew, but it was just like, oh my gosh, like what if, you know?
Right. Yep.
So anyway, so she got antibiotics. She's all good. So now moving on to the positive stuff. So Tina and I went to Knoxville, and we went on the paddle boat. Thank you, Rob. Paddle boat. And you actually know this about me. And actually our listeners too, if they go back far enough. I don't like to dance, right?
I was going to guess is that's what you're going to say.
There was a live band, and I asked Tina, I said, would you like to dance? And she was like, yes. And so we went up there. We were the first ones on the dance floor, and then a bunch of people got up and followed or whatever. And she's like, look at all the people that got up and started dancing. I'm like, I know, it feels so much better. But it's funny because, you know, here in Tennessee, everybody's taller than me. And so I had Tina like in tears laughing so hard because I'm all, I like kind of whispered in her ear. I'm all, they were probably like, look, if those little people can do it, we can do it. And then she's just like cracking up laughing. She said like the band, everybody was like smiling at us because we were both just like laughing so hard, you know? So, it was cool. It was like dinner and a cruise on the river and just a great night. She said several times this was like a perfect date night.
I love it.
I got her a bunch of really nice gifts for Valentine's Day, and you know, a couple new bottles of perfume and just this and that and the other thing, blah blah blah. So it was a really, really fun time. She hooked me up with stuff for Valentine's Day, got me some new AirPods and nice. She's gotten me AirPods before, but she felt bad because she didn't get me the ones that were like the wireless charging, which was like no big deal to me.
I didn't even know about that.
So but now she got me like the new like fanciest ones or whatever. So anyways, so that was cool. Look at the time, Rob. We're almost at 25 minutes again.
18. We're at 18. We're good.
But I got 7 more. Hold on, let me pull up my sleeves. I got 7 more minutes. I'm just kidding. So anyways, it was all good.
That's so good.
Okay.
I'm glad you guys had a great time. Wait.
It was
great. Did you have a birthday in your house too?
That was the other thing I was going to say. Yes. So yesterday was Alexis's birthday.
Yay.
She turned 11. We had a really cool birthday party. Tina helped me put it on. It was really, really great. And then I did want to mention one other thing. So the birthday party was awesome. My daughter had a great time. It was all axolotl themed, which are like,
what's an axolotl?
They're like salamanders, but they're like the lizards that they like look like they're smiling.
Oh,
so Alexis
like
is like
Entangled.
obsessed with them. Sure.
Like, you know, Entangled, there's a whole, like, the things. Okay, I don't know. I'll look at it.
I don't know. It might be an axolotl. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's not my jam. So, but that was hers. So we did an axolotl themed birthday party. It was awesome. But the other thing I want to say, it's been really cool, and kind of wanted to, you know, encourage other people in this. So Tina had the opportunity to sit down with and talk to another widow, and like encourage her and listen to her. And, you know, they just had a great conversation, Tina said, and it was really awesome. She felt really blessed by it. And she kind of realized that, like, she kind of wants to do like work with widows. And so anyways, it was super cool. So we'll get into that more later. Oops, I just knocked my mic. But what is your other thing? We got 5 minutes before we break our world
we
record,
as long as we want. We own the show, which we do. Listen, we've been doing this almost 3 years, so we can do what we want. We've earned the right. Like, if you're still listening, especially if you've been here 3 years, we've earned the right. Anyways,
we have had people say that we chit chat too much.
Yeah, but that's where I say, you know, the little button fast forward, ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. Like, you can do 30 seconds at a time. I do that during podcasts when it's like boring stuff. Ding, 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 ding. So I don't care if they do that. So a couple things. Your hacking stories reminded me of like an update on what's going on with Facebook with my account. Nothing. So actually, I was getting, you know, it's been 4 months that I've been locked out of my original account that I've had for 15 years with all the memories with Luke. I'm his legacy contact, like, and my nonprofit is actually attached to that account too. I found out that's another reason I need to be in it. So anyways, I today just sat down and wrote another letter, and I'm physically sending it to Facebook. Did you know that their actual address is One Hacker Way? Literally, that's the One Hacker Way, Menlo, California, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? So I'm going to physically print it out. Plus, I went and chatted with them. Anyways, it's still in the works. That's all I have to say about that. And then this is exciting because I think it was last week when I actually read it on the air, or 2 weeks ago, that email about my book, and they said, we already have something similar, blah, blah, blah. And it's like my dream publisher. It's Harvest House. Well, I kept chatting with this woman back and forth a little bit. And then I just decided to say, I'm sure that, you know, you do have a book similar, but I'm sure it's not the same as this. Like, would you mind just taking a look? This is 30 goals for widows and widowers. Would you mind taking a look at this? Could I send you my proposal? And she said, yes, I'm excited and I look forward to reading it. So I've sent it to her, and that's where we're at. So she is looking at it. Yeah. I don't know if that means anything because they have something similar, but there's no way they have the same book. So I'm super excited.
They definitely don't have the same book.
They don't. There's
unless
no
somebody's
way.
stealing your stuff.
Yeah, you guys stealing my ideas. Anyways, okay, that's enough. It's 22 minutes and 16 seconds. Should we move on?
We did it, Rob.
We did it under 25 minutes.
Let's start the episode quick.
Okay, so today we're gonna do two topics. The first one we're gonna talk about is Valentine's Day. So we know that this may not be, most likely is not a good day for you, because most likely if you're listening, you are a newer widow, or you may not have a significant other, and it can be a really difficult day. We've both been there. Yes, both Mark and I have relationships. We're in a different place now than we were in the beginning, but we wanted to talk about it and how to get through it, and maybe some like alternative things that you can do. Just right off the top of my head, I'm thinking of something we're doing for widows this month. We're doing a Galentine's Day. So this would be, I guess, just women, since it's Galentine's Day. We're actually doing a bunko event a few days after Valentine's Day, and just doing something different. It's like wear red and pink and come celebrate Galentine's Day and like do something different. But I'm thinking, why not like think ahead and plan something with your friends for Valentine's Day, like literally on the day. Which I know it could be hard if you're like, well, they're married and they don't want to, but reach out to some friends that would be able to do this for you. Like, I think half the battle is planning ahead. And like, I feel like that with all of the holidays is kind of having a plan of, you know, because you don't know how you're going to feel, but I think having something helps. But let me just ask you first, and then we'll kind of get into it. So what was hard about the first Valentine's Day for you? Yeah, anything you want to share about the subject?
Yeah, so, well, first off, I would like to tell all of you that are going to be facing, for you listening to this, it's tomorrow,
right.
Valentine's Day alone. And especially for those of you that this is the first one, because a lot of people do celebrate Valentine's Day. And I will start by saying that it was interesting because Lacey and I didn't celebrate Valentine's Day really. Like we would use it as an excuse to go out for a date night or something. But like, you know, she was very much the believer that like, this is a Hallmark holiday. I love my
So is
husband
Luke.
every day of the year.
Mhm.
Like I don't need a special day to remind me to love him. And I felt the same way. That being said, when the first Valentine's Day came and she was gone, it was very hard
Yeah.
because just it was like a reminder when you'd see all the posts on Facebook. That's like
Oh,
a hard
yeah.
part. All
Oh,
the
yeah.
people that are talking about how thankful they are for their spouse, and you know, it's beautiful stuff. And I'm glad that they have this, you know, loving marriage still and stuff. But it was just such a reminder that you don't have that anymore. And so some of the things that I would recommend is if you think it's going to be a hard day for you, if you know Valentine's Day was, you know, your guys' thing, and you know you always celebrated, or he or she always did something very nice for you, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. I would recommend staying off of Facebook as much as you can,
Oh, yeah.
because
That's
there are
good.
a lot of triggers on there.
Yeah.
Especially if you haven't, you know, if you're in the past, you know, month or two, and so you might not have had something like this come up.
Mhm.
It hits hard when you see all the people talking about how great their love life is and all these things. And, you know, of course we're happy for them. And it's like Michelle and I now in the season we're in, we're not in that alone season anymore. And in many regards. And, you know, it is just hard. And so while we still want to be happy for people, we don't want to be bitter about other
Mm.
people having good relationships or anything like that, of
Right.
course. But it is a reminder of what you've lost. And so I would say one of the things I would say is try to stay off social media as much as you can. And like Michelle said, plan for something. So like plan that you're going to like take a trip down to the beach, obviously depending where you live.
Yeah.
But you know, but take a trip somewhere cool. For me, that was, you know, even though I've been in Tennessee for just about 2 years, I still very much think of the beach as, you know, anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes away from my house, depending where I
Yeah.
lived for my whole life. So that's why I said that. But, you know, think of somewhere to go, think of something to do,
Yeah.
something to get your mind off of it. I think that would be something really helpful. Or it might be just depending what kind of person you are. It might be neat to write a love letter to your spouse.
Mhm.
Tell them how much you miss them and how Valentine's isn't the same without them. And, you know, because it's okay if you cry. It's
Yeah.
okay if you feel pain and you have tears. Like, that's all okay. And so we're not suggesting that you ignore any feelings you might have, but maybe like lean into them a little bit. And
Yeah.
what we feel, we can heal. Was that
It's not
good?
what I sound like. But it is probably my most quoted quote. Like people say it to me, like, well, like when you said, what we feel. My kids even say, yeah, I know. Like, you got to feel it. What we
Yeah, I'm
feel,
pretty
we
sure
can
Tina and
heal.
I have said that to each other a couple
Right.
times too, just in random conversation. Well, you know,
Yes.
it's like what we feel, we can heal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Like
I
Michelle says, but we give
think,
you credit.
okay, good. I don't know for sure. I think on my first Valentine's Day without Luke, I probably went to the cemetery. When you're saying write a letter, I'm sure I did. And so to be clear, because we've had a little bit of not clarity on this, when I say I talked to Luke or I wrote a letter, I know I'm not talking to him. Like, it's just my way of expressing it, just like writing it down in a letter. Like, I know
Yeah.
he's not hearing it. Like, it's just something that I do to help me work through things, or I did a lot more of in the past. And so I probably did that. You know, I did stuff with my kids because I always do that on Valentine's Day, just get them a few little things. And nothing big, but let's see. I just kind of want to explain what Valentine's Day used to be. Like Luke would say, it's a Hallmark, same kind of things. Like, it's not a real holiday. He'd be like, I don't need a holiday to tell me when I love my wife. Same kind of thing, all the same stuff. But he did it for me because he knew I loved Valentine's Day. I would always dress up in red or pink and like, it was a whole deal. and we would always go out to dinner. Like my mom would take my kids to McDonald's. We'd meet them at McDonald's, drop the kids off, and then we'd go out to, different restaurants. Actually, Little Italy was this place we always went every year until they closed down. And we just had our whole like little tradition. And I found recently, but I ended up getting rid of it because I'm trying to let go of more things. And I took a picture of it, like this huge Valentine's card I had gotten for Luke. And on it, I wrote, I will love you forever, even in eternity. You'll be my husband forever, or something like that. Like, which we know isn't true. Like, we're not married in heaven. So I just think it, like, at that point, I mean, we were married a couple years when I wrote that. Like, there's no way I knew he was going to die. It's just strange reading things like that. But Valentine's Day it was like a pretty big deal. Like, I just really liked feeling cherished and special. And, he would give me flowers, but he really liked surprising me. That was his thing. Like, I would come home and there would be random. So this is one of my favorite surprises. He had like a 10-foot, I'm not even kidding, like 10-foot inflatable duck, like Oregon duck, that you'd put in the front lawn, like when game day and stuff. And one day I come in for no reason at all. I come in and it's in the living room holding roses. Like, it was just so sweet. Or he would put, like, I remember a random note on my car, just love you so much, thank you so much for taking care of the kids. Like, his thing was like, I want to surprise you, like, I don't want to be told. And he was so good at it. So definitely, yeah, that was something I missed too, just like all his surprises like that. And so it was a really special day. So I know it was definitely a hard transition. I mean, I can't speak to it currently because I'm remarried, and unfortunately Joel just told me he's going to be out of town on the 14th to the 15th for work. But he, we're going to celebrate another day, but whatever. But I do know that it can be lonely and hard. I love your suggestion of staying off social media. You may even want to like stay away from places that are going to be like romantic dinner spots and stuff like that, like where you're going to see a lot of people. I think I would, do something with friends, or, watch a movie, but maybe not like a romantic movie, but like a funny movie or something like that where you're doing something different.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise idea too. And it's funny because like it's everywhere. Like even Chick-fil-A is doing like Valentine's Day dinner.
That's hilarious because we walked into Chick-fil-A the other day. We were in a hurry. We're getting it to go. And they had Valentine's stuff everywhere. And Joel goes, good, this can be our Valentine's dinner. And I was like, this is not. We're getting this to go because we're trying to rush to get. It's like he was working. I'm like, this is not Valentine's dinner. No.
Well, we actually went there this morning as we're recording this, before we took Alexis and Luke to the doctor for the strep thing. And we had like a long wait because we went to urgent care. And so Chick-fil-A was right next door.
Yeah.
Went to Chick-fil-A and we all got like little breakfast biscuit
love
things
their
or whatever.
Breakfast food.
They're so heart-shaped right now. The biscuits are heart-shaped.
Okay, I gotta go.
So everybody stay away. But I mean, it's hard. It's everywhere. It's in the grocery stores. Like it's inevitable. You're gonna see it, and yeah, it's tough. It's just another one of those things. You can go back and listen to our surviving the holidays episode because we go into this in much greater detail.
Yeah.
But it is hard. It's just there's some days that are just hard.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
one of them.
I'd say go into it knowing it's going to be really, really hard. And then maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised that it wasn't as hard as you thought it was going to be. I know from some listeners that have shared things with us that I'll, keep confidential, that certain days were not as hard as they thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And we've all been through that. And you kind of feel guilty. Like, gosh, I thought that day was going to be harder.
Right.
Be thankful and praise God that it wasn't as hard of a day if that's the case. But go into it thinking it's going to be really hard. Or, treat yourself. Do something nice for yourself. I mean, you already got Valentine's Day. That's from Parks and Rec, too.
Well, I think it was.
Well, they did it in there. That's how I should say it. But treat yourself is definitely from Parks and Rec.
Treat yourself. I love that one.
So, go out and get something. Go, I don't know.
Well,
what
like
do you do?
For real. Like you
get
can
your nails
make
done, get your hair did.
Yes. You could make it about yourself. You're buying yourself a Valentine's present. Like the first year, like I bought myself a Mother's Day present. I bought a paddleboard. Like you got to figure out like what works for you. Like what what is going to help you? And then a lot of praying, like a lot of just, God, help me through this. Like, God, be my best
Yeah.
friend right now. Like, I can't get through this without you. And
Yeah.
just
Go buy
be,
yourself a new impact wrench. That's how I cope.
what's that?
It's a tool. I'm just kidding. Joel
Okay.
knows.
Okay, I'm sure he knows what that is, but I would, yeah, get your nails, whatever works for you. Um, Anything else we can say about Valentine's before we move into our second
Just
topic?
that it's hard, and brace
Yeah.
yourself and let yourself feel what you
Yep.
feel. Let the
Yep.
tears
Yep. Yep.
flow. It's okay. Even if it's been 5 years
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like crying, that's okay. I was at work that day, the first day when I was getting like, actually, I think it was the second day, but it was when I was really getting attacked and scammed and stuff. And it brought up so much grief for me. And I don't know
Really?
why. I don't know
Huh.
what triggered it exactly. I partially know, but it's like, just whatever. But it is like I was at work and my buddy asked me, he's like, "Hey man, are you okay?" And I just got
Mm.
all, my eyes just filled with water and I was like, "Not really." And I just like kind of lost it. And he
Wow.
just put his hand on my shoulder and he's like, "Hey man, if you need to just go step aside and grieve, go sit in your car, whatever." I'm like, "All right, thanks." And I just like kind of walked away and I went to the back of the shop and I was like, "Gosh, what is going on?" And I remember I walked up to the back roll up door because it's a mechanic shop. And so I looked out the window and I see my car. And for some reason it hit me that I was like, Lacey's never even seen that car. Like I bought this new car.
Oh.
And I don't know what it was. Like that just
Mm.
triggered more. And so I was just standing at the back door, like crying, and people would like come back and they're like kind of looking at me funny, like, what's going on with him, And, my buddy asked me, so, "Hey man, if you need to take off or something, you can." I just need a few minutes, like, let me
Yeah.
just regather myself. But so I was at work and I know some of you understand this and some of you may not, whatever, but like there is um, an expectation on men to be stronger and
Yeah.
to hold
True.
it together,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
it looks weak to a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
men, especially. But I was like, I don't care. Like they have no idea
Mm-hmm.
what I've been through. And yeah, it's been a long time, but I'm missing Lacey right now in this moment.
Yep.
And also it was like I was grieving for everything I have been through and that my
Mm.
kids have been through and for
Yeah.
what my life looks like now and all these things. Even though there's a lot of happiness in
Yeah.
my life is still like my life is still incomplete in many
Right.
ways. You know what I mean? I'm not married again and I am not living with my spouse and having a life together. I'm not co-parenting and she
Mm-hmm.
does a great job. Tina, like, doing things as my sidekick and me as her sidekick when we're together. But we're not together all the time because we're not married or
Right.
whatever. And so I just had this breakdown, and so I just wanted to share that because even as a man, I sat there and cried at work in front of a lot of other like pretty tough, rugged men, and I was like, I don't care what they think.
Good.
And so
That's the way to grieve.
yeah, I was like, screw you guys.
I
But
gotta feel it.
yeah, I'm supposed to feel it so I can
What
heal
we
it.
do.
And anyways, so I just want to share that. So saying that if it doesn't matter if you're at work, if you're out at the mall
Right.
if you're treating yourself and you just feel like having to cry, that's
One
okay.
last cry. Do you know that
I
song?
don't know that one, dang it.
What?
That's in my pitch too.
It's like
I hit that
from
high note.
90 something, One Last Cry, and it was like my song with this boy I met. I don't know why. That was our song. Because I
Doesn't
think we
ring any
like
bells at all.
broke up before we really had a relationship. So it was One Last Cry.
So your song was a breakup song?
I guess I don't know. I just remember
This
that
is our song.
reminded me of him.
That's great. No, I don't.
Fun.
I mean, maybe if I heard it, I'd know it. But
Okay, funny story.
I keep thinking of one more day. Give me just one more night. Something like that.
Okay, here's funny
That's
story.
what I was thinking of.
Funny story.
Okay.
So another thing that happened, this is totally off this subject, but it has to do with something in the last few days. So we had this really fun birthday party that my brother threw for John, is this guy that lives with them, and then Peyton and Joel, and we did karaoke. And Joel and I try. We do not, I can hear it in my head, but it doesn't come out. And so I got to choose the song, and it was Grease, Summer Lovin'. And he had never even heard the song in his whole life. Summer Lovin' had me a blast.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
there's some lines that are slightly inappropriate, and his face as he's reading the like I did it on purpose because I knew it would be like he'd be totally uncomfortable. It was really funny. So I mean, they're not like super bad inappropriate, like kids don't even know what they mean, but it was pretty funny watching him sing it. He's like, what, and my whole family's laughing because he's he's like, funny. I've never heard this song. Anyways, that's a total side note. But
yeah, that's a little bit of a side note. That's funny.
No, like something that
video or it didn't happen.
Oh, I know. I don't have a video. I think someone took one. I know what reminded me of that. When you're like, I was saying that was my song with this guy. I don't even remember his name. Then I kept singing that night. Someone was singing that song. Why you gotta be so rude? And I was like, Joel, it's our song.
Wait, I've heard that song. Who is that?
Oh, can't remember. Gonna marry that girl. Marry her anyways.
Yes. Like, okay. Yeah.
Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Joel's like, that's not our song. I'm like, yeah, it is. Why you gotta be so rude? Anyways,
that's awesome.
Wow,
I know I've heard the song. It's okay. Okay. So what else were we going to talk about?
Okay, so we were going to talk about the strength in community and just talk about this amazing community that you, our Widowed Too Soon podcast listeners, have helped to create. So as you guys know, we have the regular page, but then we created a group because a group can be private. And we haven't gotten the scammers on there because they have to answer a question in order to be a member.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yes, they have to say when they were widowed. And then I go to their profile and make sure they look like they're actually widowed. And so far, everybody has. And what I like about this,
they don't have like two friends with one post.
I'm like, I got one of these the other day. I'm like, Joel, it was like a doctor guy. I'm like, this is what a fake widow looks like. It was on our other page. I had to go delete him. There was some guy.
Oh, okay.
You know when we get the notifications that they're commenting on everything? Does it ever get easier?
Yeah.
Does it get? Yes, there was one of those the other day. But
I don't remember if I mentioned it on here, but one of them hit on Tina, and I'm like, hey, do you think you could not hit on my girlfriend on my Facebook page? That'd be great. And I'm like, wait, he's not going to see this because I'm about to block him. So
right, but it's funny.
I'm just going to look like a jerk to everyone.
So it's below in the show notes if you haven't joined. It's called Widowed Too Soon Community, and we've been doing some polls. And I wanted to share some results of that. I said, what has been the hardest day of grief for you? Kind of goes with like holidays that we're talking about. And the number one answer was would be anniversary day. Like the day would have been your anniversary. I totally agree with that. I voted for 3. It was that one. And I said death anniversary. And then for me, Christmas. And those are actually the top 3, followed by late spouse's birthday. But we really appreciate you being part of these polls, and like people are encouraging each other. We have chats where people are praying for each other. I wanted to share this other poll. What's the most challenging thing about being widowed for you? Number 1 was not having someone to do life with. Like, I totally remember that. Like 100%. I still
relate to that.
Yes.
I get a taste of it, every so often, and then it's gone, and it's so much harder. It's crazy. Like I get all pumped up looking forward to it, and she's here, and it's like amazing, and then she leaves, and it's like,
right. And then it's countdown.
So I get that, and it's hard. It's hard to, especially. Well, I don't want to say especially because there's pros and cons in both, but from my perspective, what I was going to say is especially when you have 2 little kids.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? You're like everything is just feels so lonely. But then again, for some people, their loneliness is silence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's hard too. So I don't want to say one's harder than the other because they both have.
I think they're both pros really and cons, hard because I think about, and I work with widows who are all alone, and I can see how it would be so difficult. Like my kids really helped me keep going, although they were very difficult in the beginning. Just like still like getting up and doing things for them. And mine is different than yours.
That's
mine
very
were not
true.
Little, but
because I always have this thing to fall back on that I'm like, I still got to get up and do that for them or whatever. And otherwise, I don't know if I ever would have got out of bed.
Right.
But or been energized to go keep working hard and making a living and doing all the things, Yeah. So that would be really hard.
Yeah.
But anywho, go on. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. There's so many people. We didn't even ask anyone to do it. They just did it on their own, like came and introduced themselves, and then people comment on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chat within here when people were posting where they have events, and I saw people that didn't know each other connecting, and I love
Oh,
that.
wow. That's
And
cool.
just, yeah, I think there was like a Chicago one where a couple people connected. Um, and I love just seeing the connection and just the way that you guys support us. We get lots of emails from people literally all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
We just thank you for supporting this and just coming together. It really is huge when you can come together. Like I said, we're going to do this event here, and literally anyone, people like, I wish we had events, and I say start one. That's all I did. Like I started small, and then it just kind of like has grown word of mouth. And then like someone, Karen, who you heard last week as on the intro, she started her own group. She lives in a different part of Washington. She came back from our retreat all hyped up, and she just put it on Facebook, and I think they had close to 10 people, and it was only her second or third time
Wow.
last month.
That's
So
awesome.
you don't, instead of saying like, I wish we had a widows group, just start one. Like an easy way to do it is just make it public on Facebook and start sharing. Like pick a public place. So you're not putting your address out there. Like we're going to go to Starbucks at this time on this day, put it out there. If you know a couple widow friends, like you can contact churches, like wherever, and just get it out there. And even if it starts with like 2 of you and then it grows. And then this is something I'm super excited about. So while we are at the Bunko night, there are a couple new widows who have like younger kids and they didn't really have a babysitter. I volunteered my daughter Haley to be the babysitter. So they're going to be dropping their kids off at our house. And Haley, and she's going to have a friend because there's going to end up being like 7 kids between the ages of 1 and 12. So I wanted her to have someone to help her.
Oh, wow.
And, Widow Goals, my nonprofit, will be able to pay her and her friend. And they're going to be, watching them. So these moms who wouldn't have a way to go are going to be able to come. And then there's some like older kids that I'm going to ask Haley to just kind of nonchalantly, as they're going to do crafts and do all this stuff, like as they're doing stuff, to be like, hey guys, I know what it's like to not have a dad. And just kind of open up that conversation. So not only, like, I got really excited when I thought about this the other day. I'm like, not only can we bring widows together, we can bring healing to these kids so they can relate to other kids. So like think big, like it could start as just a widows thing, but then it could be your kids are connecting at the same time.
Yeah.
So that just like, I got so excited. I haven't even talked to Haley about doing it, but I know she'll do it. Because there's some of like the older kids where I think, or to any of the kids, she
You're
could be like,
signed Haley up. She doesn't even know yet.
yeah. Well, no, she knows about the babysitting. She doesn't know that I'm asking her to
gotcha.
kind of like open. No, it's on her calendar. She's asked a friend to come over and help her. Like it's all good.
That's what I thought you were saying, is that you just signed them up and she doesn't know yet.
No, she does know. Anyways, like my point is like you can start the community in your area. It doesn't have to be a big fancy thing. Like Karen started a Facebook page. And, I think she knew a few people, and then people kept asking to join it. And now she has this whole like group of people, and she always does it a public place. So she doesn't have to share a private address. And it's going really, really well. I saw her last post that they decided to go to a smash room where you smash things.
Yeah.
I was like, what a great idea. Like how fun for a bunch of widows to get together and smash things. I might do that here. I love it.
Well, make sure that at your house?
No, not like here. No.
I'm like, I don't know if you want to do that.
Not at my new house. Like in
Here's
this
a bat.
area.
Welcome.
Welcome to my house. No, I mean like in this area, because I think they have them in Portland, I'm sure. Go to a smash place, like where you smash things. I was like, brilliant, cool. Karen. Love it.
I've always wanted to do that, to be honest. Right? There's one by my house, and I've always wanted to do that. I'm like, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just take a sledgehammer and start breaking stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Anyways, I guess, anything else you want to add to the community? I guess I didn't really let you talk much about it.
Well, yes, I will chime in on that.
This was your idea. I will give you credit. This whole episode was his idea. Good job. So, good job.
Thank you very much. So let's see. So I just wanted to say that it is so cool what we've seen in the past 3 years. We've seen so many people that are making inspirational posts on their own Facebook pages, that are writing letters about how to be strong and reaching out to people. We've had people from our community that have reached out and hung out together. Really neat cool. Things like that. And, you know, certain people that then they knew somebody who was going through the same thing they went through, and has nothing to do with us. It's their heart. And it's just really cool to have seen this community of people that have become strengthened, um, that are they themselves very inspirational people, that they are helping us grow this community. It's super cool. That they know somebody, they hear about somebody that's dying, and they reach out to their spouse, and they're telling their spouse, hey, I get it, like I understand. And I don't want to share too much information at the time being, but I can tell you that Tina's had some of that going on with certain people, that, you know, things are going on in their world. And she ran into another girl at Target that she's really been wanting to talk to, that actually at one point wasn't ready to talk to anybody, but that was like a year ago. And now she's like, I really want to get together and talk to you. And awesome. Tina's starting to feel this connection, that she's like, man, I can like help people.
Yes.
And that's, you know, I've seen that so many times. We have Julia and Rob, and I mean, the list goes on. I can't even start naming people because I don't want to forget about anybody.
Right, exactly.
But I've seen so many people I'm friends with or whatever, that they're posting things about their journey, and sometimes they're having grief days, and they're explaining to people what grief is like and how to talk to your friends that are going through grief, and all these things that are just so encouraging. And it's just like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to give you all a pat on the back, because a lot of you are doing really great work out there too, and it's super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, how many
Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
go watch the movie. You'll see how spot on I am.
No, but I'm wondering how many times over the course of 3 years have you quoted Forrest Gump? Some damning. Well, that would take too much time.
It's not as much as you think. It's 88 times.
88.
You could ask AI how many times has Mark quoted Forrest Gump.
I know. So we weren't using AI the entire time. Well, I could upload all the episodes and figure it out, but that would take a long time.
I don't know that it would be worth it.
It's not worth it, really. It's just like a random trivia fact. No, I think that's your most quoted movie.
I can go with Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. I can quote both of those pretty much line for line through the whole movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we got to say about that. I think we covered Valentine's Day and community.
Yep. We're proud of you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being such faithful listeners. It's incredible I don't understand what God has done with this podcast. It blows my mind. It really blows my mind.
It really is cool.
I remember telling you, I was like, Michelle, if like 2 people listen, if one person listens and they actually like get something out of it, you're right. Like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. It's just nuts. I remember the first episode, I was like, can you believe 10 people have listened?
And we
like, that's
they're
crazy.
All from our home city.
What a blessing. I mean, to have been used by the Lord in this way. Because I don't understand what it is that we are doing that's helping people. But the emails we get, the messages we get, just touch my heart like in the deepest way. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, God, you're so good.
Yeah.
You're so good to have entrusted us with this. Like, gosh, it's like such a sensitive topic, and somehow, not perfectly, but somehow we've been able to navigate this very delicate road. And that we've been, I mean, even, you know, the girl that I'm in love with, I was able to help her before I even knew her. And you, obviously, so I'm not saying just me.
Really cool.
But like, it's crazy to me that I'm like, wow, like I was like touching her like heart, you know what I mean? Before she even said, and exciting news, a little bit of a what would you say, a teaser
about the future.
Tina is going to be a guest, possibly the next episode, we'll see. But one of the things that oh gosh, that got me so distracted now, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh man, I hate when that happens. I was talking about something that
you touched your heart before.
So interesting story is that she had just kind of barely scratched the surface of considering the idea of possibly, did I cover that? maybe dating somebody and considering what that might be like. And she literally said, while listening to our podcast, it would have to be somebody like him.
Oh, love it.
Somebody that's like been through this, that loved their wife the way that he loved me. Her husband, John.
That's awesome.
And that to me is like so moving that like, and I lived in California at that time. It's like crazy. So anyways, more to come on that.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Well,
stay tuned.
Would you like to pray for the audience?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Lord, we thank you so much for the incredible support we've gotten from listeners and just what you've done through this podcast. And we pray that you would just continue to direct us and guide us and, keep our eyes on you and keep us focused on you, all of us in this community. And Lord, I'd like to pray for those that tomorrow, Valentine's Day is going to be a very difficult day. Lord, I pray that you would keep close to them, keep close to their hearts, and may they remember to cry out to you in their hours and minutes of need. And I'd also like to thank you, Lord, for all of the healing that you have done in so many people in their hearts that you've done. It's just amazing that you've carried so many of us through these incredibly dark waters that none of us knew how to traverse. And you've just done amazing work. And I know that not all of us are in a better season. And we all still have moments of grief, no matter how far along we get. We still have things that make us break down. And Lord, I just thank you for being there with us in those times. And you're just such a good Father. And I'm so sorry for all the times that we just go about our daily lives and don't include you in our regular day-to-day. You're the most important thing in this world. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, if you liked this podcast, give it a little bing, 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 5 stars. I've got a little
8
visual here. Give us some stars.
Hey, look at that. Look at the screen, everybody. Stars.
Look
it's
at the
subliminal.
Screen. It's like the foil
Look
stars.
at all those stars.
Yes, give us a bunch of stars.
Wait, is there one missing on the bottom?
Well, I just moved one around. Like I just.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say you're showing 4 stars. Don't do that.
Okay. Oh, down here. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
give us
stars.
a lot of stars. We'd like to thank people who are sending in their voice messages, as you heard last week and on this episode, and a bunch of them about how the podcast has helped them. If you'd like to do that, there is a link below where you can be featured. If you want to be a guest, all the things are down below in the show notes. I think that's it. We'd love for you to be part of our What a Too Soon community that we talked about. And we are wishing you a happy Valentine's Day, because the joy of the Lord is your strength and he will help you get through the day.
And treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
God bless.